Hello, 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 and welcome to another One Line of Code. I am One Lion. I hope you're all well. Happy Friday to you. If you are new to the stream, welcome in. Nice, and Napalm does the dad joke pretty soft. Today's dad joke at the start of the stream is, I thought my wife was joking when she said she'd leave me if I didn't stop signing I'm a believer. Then I saw her face. I said signing. Because you did write, it did write signing. I think it meant to put singing. I have enough trouble reading dad joke API. Don't mess me up more. Anyway, welcome to the stream. Today, Fridays on this stream are community days. And community day is a day where I invite you, the viewer, and the entire community. Yeah, I know it's a song. It's just, it said signing and singing. Anyway, you are able, I invite you to bring up whatever topics you want that are relevant to the topics we talk about on the channel, which is usually technology, and we can talk about other things, but I would prefer to just constrain it to technology because we've gone on topics that I really don't enjoy talking about, or I don't know how to not offend people by saying I don't want to talk about politics or economy or stuff like that. But point is, let's talk about technology. So we're doing that. While we are talking tech and doing whatever conversations we want, you can also talk about things that you're currently working on. If you want me to take a look at some code that you're doing and share it on stream, ask for advice, give feedback, whatever. Today's a great day for that. And Napalm says, just say, I don't feel like being depressed today. Happy topics only. That's not necessarily true, though. I can be depressed about other things, just not world economy and current events and stuff like that. You can depress me by saying JavaScript is overtaking Blazor because JavaScript has become this extremely robust thing and I've invested so much time in Blazor and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it has nothing to do with being happy or sad or anything like that. It's all about what I'm comfortable talking about on this channel as far as opinions. And I really enjoy developer opinions and saying this is the way that you ought to do things, or this is how I found is a good way to do things, or this tech here should be used, or whatever. Those kinds of opinions are great, but the ones that are about a class of people or a group of people or country or region or whatever, not into that. I mean, JavaScript is always going to be greater than Blazor. It's been around longer. If you're talking about age-wise, then yes, I'll agree with you, but I'll leave it at that for now. But anyway, I'm hopping over to the desktop where you will see broken code. I recently updated Visual Studio and I can no longer build Maui apps again. So we're going to remove that from the build. President Metro, I must be really awesome because I've been around forever. But anyway, I guess the other part of Community Day is that you can either do it using chat, so bring up whatever topics you want to talk about in chat, we'll have conversation there, or if you are comfortable enough doing so, I have opened up a voice channel in our Discord. You can see the link in the message above. That you can hop into Discord, join any of the voice channel rooms, and let me know in Twitch chat that you're going to hop into one of the rooms. I am also sharing my screen in the Discord voice channel so that you can also see the screen live and hear my voice live, and you won't have a lag. But just hop in there and let me know in Twitch chat, and I'll pull you into the stream room, and we'll have verbal conversation, just know that your voice will carry through on the stream. And I do post the VODs from the stream to YouTube, so it'll be forever kept until the end of time or until YouTube explodes. Yeah. There you go. .NET workload install Maui should fix it. Should fix it is the thing. I've done this so many times. So many times. Hello, Mojo. Mojo Fawad is here. But I mean, I guess I did just update Visual Studio, so this should fix it, like you're saying. Or I will get an error because my Visual Studio, my NuGet packages are not letting me have access to them. Come on. Come on. My goodness. Thank you. I'm just going to uncheck my Armids packages, even though I am logged into it. And I've done the NuGet add source, this source name, this URL, password, my pat, and my pat has not expired yet. And oh man, just so many things, so annoying. Okay, President Not Sure says, yeah, I found .NET workload install Maui fixes my setups when trying to use VS Code on various machines. Cool, very cool. And deleting bin and obj, reopen VS. We'll try it with just the toolkit install, because I always want to do it one step at a time. Well, I don't want to say always, because there are many times when I just want to do the one-shot kill thing. Like restart the computer instead of find out, is there a resource that is taking up too much memory that I can just terminate or whatever, figure out what it is that's causing the underlying issue. But in this case, I want to know if installing the workload fixes the build issue. If not, then closing and reopening Visual Studio. If not, then clearing bin and obj. Ooh, why am I out of breath? This is weird. But yeah, happy Friday to all of you that are here, and all of you that aren't here, happy Friday to you as well. You just won't be able to hear me, but hopefully you can feel my energy going out to you and saying, have a great day. Have a fantastic weekend. Oh my goodness, just load. I recently learned about Refit NuGet package. Saved tons of hours of work for me. It creates HTTP client services on my real services classes, allowing Maui plus Wasm to use Refit without needing to write code. What does that mean? Tell me more. Actually, let me look it up while you're telling me more. Because like right now, the main thing for me is having the dev tunnels running whenever I am debugging the Android, you know, when you're targeting Android. No, I don't want to sign up for Medium. So that the Android running app has access to the API, but then you have to deal with cores and make sure that 0000 is allowed and blah, 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 blah. Bunches of fun stuff. So if you have services that direct connect to databases, Maui can't use it. Then you use Refit to create client classes automatically. Oh! From Maui with a couple of lines of code. So this is important. This is interesting. This is awesome. And the main reason why is because, probably like you, Scott, I create a service interface And that service interface has all of the methods that you can run to achieve whatever the thing is for that service. Let's actually use this app. And I have two implementations of it. I have a client-side implementation that all it does is calls HTTP client or HTTP API endpoints. And then that endpoint is running on a server. And that's the one that calls the server-side implementation of the service that does the database connection, give me data, server resources stuff. So here is that setup. In this application at least. So I have the shared project with my service interfaces. So for example, plant flow data has two methods, get previous flow data. I'm saying data now. It's so weird saying data. And get rollover. And then the client-side implementation of this service looks like HTTP post at this API endpoint, HTTP get from this API endpoint, and there's a controller that is serving as my API endpoint. Plant flow data. Oh, wait, what? That's only a little confusing. Oh, right. Interesting. I have a lot of complexity added to this thing because there are 4 different types of plant flow information, or not plant flow, but treatment plant information. One of them is plant flow data. Okay, but that being said, here are my post, and there must be a base get that is defined in the base class for this. I don't know where the get is. But anyway, here's my post for plant flow data. Yeah, plant flow data, get previous flow data. I have no idea where get rollover is, but here's get previous flow data, which just forwards the request to the server-side service, get previous plant flow data, which then does the actual call to the database to get the data. There. Okay, so I'm missing a lot of stuff because I'm talking about my own stuff. President Not Sure said, always good to hear, have a great day. Not been a great year, so I always appreciate it. Yeah. So definitely have a great day today from this point on, even if it hasn't been so far. May it be the best of days for you. Refit is fantastic. Just write an interface for HTTP calls. Hanselman wrote about it on his blog years ago. President Not Sure said, I like Refit as well. Scott says, if you have services. Yeah, we read that one. No DNF did not. So .NET Foundation created the NuGet, I believe, and they did not. It might be part of .NET Foundation, but .NET Foundation just provides care and feeding for member projects. I'm on the DNF projects committee. .NET Foundation and contributors did make Refit though. The foundation doesn't create projects. They do a terrible job of communicating this. And then here's some resources for, yeah, they do. And hello, Peter. I'm deploying and will not be joining the call. Also muted, so don't bother replying. Ha ha ha. Well, joke's on you. I'm replying anyway. Because you can still feel my energy even though you're not listening verbally. I will make you feel my energy. Joke's on you. I'm not muted. I'm just going by the NuGet creator. Yeah, that's just the package publisher and CI/CD. Okay. Enjoy, Peter. Thank you so much for lurking, for being here. sharing your energy with us. It's amazing. I almost said amaze balls. I did say amaze balls. Oh my gosh. Who am I, BJ? Anyway, point is, here's my server-side services. So what you are essentially telling me is that I can replace my client-side implementations of all of my services by using refit, where I have my service interfaces. I tell refit to make the client-side ones. Oh, those were images. I thought those were proofs that .NET Foundation was a publisher. Okay, so it takes the same kind of attribute that controllers do, except that instead of being HTTP post, it's just post. Yeah, I'd be really interested to see how this could replace my my implementations, because I really like right now. I want to show Army Water. I should have opened that one instead. To show another thing that I think people typically do, but I could be wrong about this part, and I'm just a weirdo for doing this. Microsoft OpenAPI spec YAML generates the refit interfaces for you. That's very cool. But yeah, it sounds like refit will create a hosted API controller for me. And then I would deploy that the same way that I deploy the server-side project, or is that where the refit gets used and defined? So here is another example. Yeah, this is another example of the same pattern where I have I have service interfaces with a server-side implementation and a client-side implementation. And my client-side implementation just does, I'm assuming it's you, just does API request. However, I changed this one so that I have one HTTP extensions class, and this is what I think a lot of people do themselves. They create a HTTP extensions class for get, put, post, delete, and maybe patch, depending on if they actually use patch. And with those, they have all of the error handling that their app would typically do. So for my app, I catch all exceptions and I say if it is a thread canceled, operation canceled, which is also these two. But if it's operation canceled exception, then we add an error to the response model every time. And then if it's any other error, then we log the exception. And then we put it inside of the response model as well. And what I would normally do, which is starting to fail me because of int pointers, is if debug and if resp add error the exception itself. So I would send the exception back in debug only with my response model, but when it tries to serialize it, it's like just a whole bunch of issues with int pointers. I don't like it when it does that. So it generates a client class that can hit the defined endpoints, ? And the answer is yes. I'm forgetting the details. Basically, a combination of attributes and method arguments generates a HTTP client for you. I write myAPI and it spits out essentially the implementation. Cool. But you still write your own server-side implementation of it. So it would clean up these for me. Because just about every single one of these is just HTTP client do put post get, do get put post delete, HTTP client do get, well, with lookup list type, HTTP client do post, do get, post, get. This one has a little bit more logic. Why are you like this? Why aren't you like the other ones? Very weird. Not going to rewrite your API. Aww. In this day of AI, that's just weird. I was able to generate my own API controllers as well, but using my own implementation, had around 40 services, then use Refit to do the client calls to them. Nice. Yeah, and I only have a handful of services, but lots of apps. So if I look at DDMS, maybe. Hello, TBD Gamer. Yes, TBD Gamer. If you are okay with working for a large consulting firm, Sagetti is a good place to work if you're into that kind of work environment. It wasn't for me, so I left it. But yeah. Where's DDMS? Hey, DDMS. That's the WinForms. That's the VB6. This one. I need to escape PHP and get back to my happy place. Yes, I was. I absolutely was. And the person that took over for me gets to play with Blazor as well. So it's the application that I was working on before. That was scary simple. I thought someone hopped into voice chat. The application that I was working at Sagetti for the client was a desktop diagnostics app, hardware diagnostics application, and the front end of it was done in Blazor. So it's a WPF app using Blazor WebView, well, a modified Blazor WebView, and yeah, and then just pretty much it would be my combination of satellite classes and my Blazor component library class project. So true. So true. But yeah, I really loved working on that application, but I did not like the dynamic. So I just found that it's not the type of work environment that I like to work in. Which I know, lame, makes me a terrible person. So anyway, in this large application, I'm going to call DDMS a large application. It's one of our biggest applications, one of the biggest ones that I worked on, which is a document management system that manages over, I think it was 250,000 documents, maybe even more. But definitely over 1.4 terabytes of documents, of PDFs that all get indexed, that all get that are all searchable, and they have database records associated with them. So when you do a search, you're searching both database records and the PDF contents, image contents. But anyway, there's only 9. Is that how many this is? 8 service classes that I use for it. Biggest one being this one. So it would be nice though if all of the client-side implementations for these were done for me. The problem is that all of the core application stuff, and I like to say core application apparently, is done. There's a lot of refactoring that I would want to do, but all of the methods are done. They're implemented. Again, a whole bunch of get from JSON, try catch or on posts, and only posts, because you're never going to get errors on gets, apparently, according to past me. What? But yeah, either gets or posts. And here I could use the same extension methods that I put in the other application for surround everything with try catch and give me back a valid response model every time. And some unimplemented stuff. But anyway, DDMS, everyone. DDMS was a ton of fun. And again, you'll hear me use this phrase, ton of fun, for a lot of stuff because I really, really enjoy working in Blazor. I enjoy software development in general, but doing it with Blazor has just been a blast for me. Thoroughly enjoyed myself. And part of that fun is frustration. If you aren't into being frustrated, probably, I mean, it's going to be in everything that you do software development wise, most likely, but there might be more frustration for you in Blazor than you would want. TBD Gamer. Okay, so you're suggesting I go work somewhere you didn't enjoy working because you're a different person than me. I know that we have a lot of similar personality traits, but it still might be possible that you would thrive on a team like the one that I worked on at Sagetti. Plus, there are many different types of teams, and I'm just not really team oriented. I want to be, I think, but I struggle a lot when I'm on a team. Well, okay, my first issue that I need to get over myself is that I struggle to trust people to do what they say they're going to do. The issue that happened for me was I did have that and I was fighting with it and I was trying to be like, I don't want to feel that towards my teammates, but it became self-fulfilling prophecy, or it's how it worked out on the team. People said they would do stuff and didn't actually do the stuff, and they weren't reliable, and I felt like I was picking up a lot of the slack, and I did not like that. But there were other teams that I could have been a part of, but I just didn't want to have to go through the same thing again. So I'm working for myself now, currently, on a team of one. And he still struggles with trusting himself to do the things he says he's going to do. Pressing F. I'm going through the same. I do have a bang F command. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of chat that I missed while I have been talking my head off, and I want to have you guys read or steer the conversation more. Refit is a good thing, though. I really want to look for that. Dukasov said, I thought all you had to do these days was or to press tab. Oh, yeah, to get all of your services built. Tab hero. Heck yeah. Tab programming. Are you looking for one or just asking generally? Asks Scott. Napalm says Fritz did something though that generates minimal APIs from EF instant API. I think it might be dead though. I need to escape PHP and get back to my happy place, says DBD Gamer. President not sure we're using Blazor at that position. I talked about that. Dukasov said same. So same about needing to escape PHP. TBD Gamer says genuinely looking. I could refer you to some of the positions that were offered to me, but a lot of them were, yeah, we'll be remote, but it'd be nice if you could come into the office like 1 to 2 times a week. It's like, I thought you were going to say month. Nope, week. And I'm like, I work 100% remote currently. Why would I want to give that up? And thank you so much for the follow. Undeclared. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry that took me so long to read. Anyway, hi. Check out fast endpoints. So I have heard about fast endpoints. I know about those. Definitely worth checking out. Why did you open in this browser? That's not the most recent browser that I had focus on. This is. Oh, there was also one more of these. I stopped at one. Ooh, okay. And then here is how you add the refit client, configure HTTP services, and then you tell it what the endpoint is. I guess you can get base address from your program.cs, so that should still be pretty much the same as how HTTP clients are currently set up. Excuse me. Okay, fast endpoints. Catching up in chat. Where are we? Oh yeah, right. And I also need to change my marquee to this one because it is Community Day. Just so you know. How do you store those and where? How do you store the which, Dukasoff? Can you remind me? Unless you were talking with someone else and they answered you. Scott, it provides Napalm says to Scott for what do fast endpoints do? And so Napalm says it provides a different pattern to MVC and minimal APIs, supposed to be fast dev and performance. And sounds like TBD Gamer might know more. I just know of it. I haven't used it. Oh, about fast endpoints. Whoa, did I skip an entire section? I did. Okay, so yeah, I work in the same fashion, but my employer leaves me alone these days. Says president, not sure, as far as 100% remote, I think. Maybe the team, I don't know. What do fast endpoints do? Ask God. And then Napalm was saying instant API was a very interesting concept C# for its head, but I'm going to have to ask him if he can revive that thing. Cool. And then how do you store those? I will look for a follow-up on that. All right, which he did. So hopefully when I get to that follow-up, I won't forget. Then that's when Napalm responded to Scott and then said the thing about TBD Gamer, and TBD Gamer said, "You got it. I do. I use it a lot. I could happily deal with Blazor right now. I love Blazor. I would become the world's biggest Blazor fan if the opportunity jumped in front of me." I mean, I kind of fell into it because I started using Blazor. Well, I got excited about Blazor when I heard that it was coming, started using it as soon as it was in GA, and loved it ever since. I know it has pitfalls. I'm not saying it's the best thing in the world. I'm not saying you should use it for everything. There are definitely different technologies that you could use in place of it if you're more experienced with that technology. If you have opinions that tech, or even facts backing it up, that technology that you want to use is better than Blazor, then please do. You don't have to use Blazor for everything. I do, because I love it so much. But that's me. That does not mean you have to. Learning is the career choice we all made. I struggle with that too. The whole thing about trusting teammates. I want to trust my teammates. It's very hard to get people that I depend on for things to actually do them. This is a problem when it's a dependency on hardware firmware. So again, on the same topic, on the same line of conversation as we came to it, I think that I am too picky, and that is where my main issue starts. Well, not even I think. I know that I'm too picky. I hold myself in very high standards. I know my work ethic. I know the way that I perform when I am doing development work solo, where my eyes are on code and I am just burning through it. I get a contact from the client. I respond to them immediately and say, I will look at this after I'm done with the current thing that I'm doing. And once I finish the current thing I'm doing, I look at whatever the thing is that they're talking about. So I know that I do that for myself, for the client. But then when I work with a team of people that have different approaches for how to deal with a client, for example, so differing opinions on respond to them a little bit later, but get started on the work first, for one. For two, say, this will take me 2 times the amount of time you think it'll take you, and you'll get to it when you get to it, kind of thing, because you don't want the client to push you around. And it's like, I get it. I know why you would do that. However, I have a different mentality on how to treat clients. And that's just one area of where I hold myself in higher standards. So that means that I also get frustrated when my teammates don't have the same standards. Yeah, and welcome in, Undeclared. We should be catching up to where Dukasoft updated me on his thing. TBD Gamer says, I need to find a new job before September. That's my goal, so that I don't have to go and meet the rest of the company in person. No, that would be terrible. Aspire should be able to split all that out for you. Base URL, cool. Very cool. Thank you for putting the reference. I do need that, because I do get lost in chat, and then I say things in the middle of stuff, and then I completely forget the conversation. Napalm said, to TBD Gamer, my first month on the job, I had to go to San Fran and Nashville. Met colleagues then, worked out well. Have to go to Michigan in September. So my whole time working at Sogeti, I never had to go into the client office, nor any of the Sogeti sites. But if you live within an hour commute of a Sogeti site or the client office, then you will be required to go in 3 days a week. That was a new policy put out. Thankfully, I was neither. And Napalm said, my first month on the job. Oh, wait, I read that already. One Fun said, how is Community Day? It is going. We are deep in the throes. Okay, so I was asking how you store the PDFs and or where. I do want to tell, because I would love, and we are going to work on DDMS again in the future on stream, but I would love opinions on that. Right now we have 3 EC2 instances. Well, I guess 4, but just think they're, if you aren't familiar with what an EC2 instance is, think of a virtual machine running in the cloud, and it's running full Windows operating system. You can remote into it. You can do management on it just like you would any other Windows server. So we have 3 EC2 instances, one that acts as both a test IIS server and production DB, production SQL server, one that works as the production IIS server and test DB server, and one that has all of our miscellany stuff. So file shares and our ArcGIS, well, nope, I moved that to the fourth server. I was going to say ArcGIS server. Our document indexer server would be the next thing. So as far as that's concerned, all of our files are stored on a virtual disk on that virtual machine, on that EC2 instance that is the file share server. And it's maintained through the DDMS application. It's so beautiful. I can't wait to upgrade these to .NET 8. I did run into one issue. I deployed the .NET 8 version of RMA Water, and when I refreshed, it timed out. So I need to figure out what's going on there. And that's because it was switching from the server rendered to WASM, since the WASM had downloaded the .NET runtime. But yeah, this application here is how our document management team uploads files to it, and apparently I don't have upload functionality. I'm not a DTC person, I think. Downloads, oh, load basic search results. Yeah, so I would have upload documents as a function if I was a document tracking document, whatever DTS stands for. DTC. Anyway, our document team. So they use this application to upload the PDFs to the file server. Note that some of those PDFs are over 250 megs because of how they're scanned, because of how many pages they get. OCR is run on every single PDF because as it gets uploaded, the indexer runs on it. That's not the indexer. I don't even know where the indexer, oh, right, I need functionality for that. in order to be able to use the indexer. But the indexer runs on every single PDF that gets uploaded, and then every single time you update a database record, the document record in the database, the indexer runs for that document specifically so that it re-indexes. And then we have rules around secure documents that can't be searched or pulled up by anyone without secure view. So that one's a little bit harder because we can't index those files because you get content in the files, and let's say it's a secret file, classified file. We can't have unclassified resources accessing contents from those files, kind of thing. Okay, catching up. Still, meaning I work as a contractor for an employer which assigned me to a client. Yeah, so that's exactly how Sogeti is. Same situation is what you meant up here. Got it. Yeah, work for a consulting firm that has contracts with clients, but you are working for that firm as a contractor as opposed to a W-2 employee, and then they assign you to clients. TBD Gamer says, I don't actually mind meeting people, however, going somewhere to be given training on agile practices in this culture is a waste of 3 days, and it's in Texas. What's wrong with Texas? You could go meet up with Big Gamey. Texas. I mean, aside from the fact that you're in New Jersey, but still. Undeclared says, I really like Blazor as well. My worry is Microsoft. I heavily used WebView 2 and I have the same worry. Yeah, so in the app that I was talking about earlier that I used to work on, it's Blazor WebView with all of our Blazor content in a separate class library. Yeah, shout out for Big Gamey. Thank you, Dukasoft. You're amazing. You're the best. It's kind of where I'm at with Aspire. Love it since preview. Oh yeah, with Blazor. The way that I am with Blazor. I like Aspire, says Juan Van. Fritz has been doing a bunch with it. I hear a bunch about it, and I wouldn't mind trying it out either. That's another one that would be cool to see if I can use. The issue is that all of the apps that I work on for my current client are hosted in AWS on those EC2 instances. And I would like to restructure the hosting model. Maybe use Azure, but right now they're kind of committed to using AWS. So we'll see. We'll see where that goes. Napalm says to TBD, Agile training, just as bad as culture training. Thankfully that was remote. Want to look at some jank code? Certainly. Send us your code. TBD Gamer says, I'm already looking at some jank code. One. Undeclared says, love the cross streamer promotion. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have so many streamers in our community that are just fantastically amazing. Oh my gosh, I told you guys to let me, you probably did, to let me know. Let me see how much chat there is. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of chat. We just have a lot of streamers in our community that are amazing. I'll read through all of these, and I think you guys are gonna tell me that you're in the waiting room because I just now looked over to the Discord. I have something to talk about, says TBD Gamer, but I want Lion's opinionated eyes on it. Well, my code. EC2 sounds a bit overkill for me, but cool indeed. Certainly, you could just use Elastic Beanstalk for most of your apps or some other app service type thing. Probably overkill for lots is one fun. I love hearing about all the larger stuff, says Dugasoft, that I will probably never get to use. Good thing about EC2, says Undeclared, and AWS in general is it's free for the first year in general, but we have a lot of apps on it and a lot of storage space that we use, as long as you don't use a heavy level server. Dugasoft says, wow. Undeclared says Windows license might cost extra, and SQL licenses because you are actually installing SQL onto a cloud service as opposed to running maybe like RDS, for example, and remain free, except that, I guess. Shout out to Big Gamey. All right, and then here is in the Discord server waiting room. Mojo says, I'm coming too. And Napalm says, God, how dare. I think my pet project is going to be done in Aspire. Thanks to TBD Gamer for convincing me I was overthinking things. Scott says, here's another chat. Mojo says, also in waiting room, ready whenever, walking away from Twitch, so I can't hear, confirm later. And then I'd have you screen share to see the code. It's not on GitHub. Okay, we can do that. Yeah, cool. Okay, so I'm pulling everyone in who is currently in the waiting room. Mute the stream because I should have audio coming through Discord as well as video. Hello, TBD. Mic check. Mic check. If you're ready. Okay, yes, you are. One more time.
Hello.
Cool. Mic check. No. Is this you, Juan?
There. No, I'm undeclared X.
Oh, you're undeclared. Okay. I was like, Juan is Juan in our Discord, but yes. All right, so Null is undeclared. Thank you for the mic check. And finally, Mojo, who stepped away, I think. But mic check whenever you can, Mojo.
Hello.
Mic checked. All right. So, TBD Gamer, you said you have something to discuss.
Yeah. So actually, it's something you brought up with the whole job thing, where I'm a different kind of dev, and I get different things from it. Sorry, I just got pinged from work at the same time.
It happens.
Nothing like being distracted, right? And like as a developer, how many people consider their job to be get code done versus share what they know and mentor other developers as well?
Oh yeah.
Especially as you get more experience. Is that what you don't like? You don't like the interaction where you've got to guide people to do what they need to do?
No, I definitely don't mind that. Again, it was more someone says that they are going to be responsible for a certain thing, and they end up, and it's something that I am relying on. That's the hardest part for me, is if I have to rely on someone else to do their part before I can finish my part, and it's like a bottleneck, but they aren't doing their part of it in what I would, even with some buffer space, call a timely manner.
Right.
Then it just frustrates me. It's like I wouldn't want anyone else to be waiting, or at least I would give updates to say this is taking me longer than I expected, so please give me a little bit longer, or we can work on it together, or whatever.
So it's accountability that's sometimes there.
Integrity is actually the word that I would use, but yes,
makes sense. Yeah, people say they're going to do something.
Being a manager means you can count as only 0.25 times developer, says Solo. Hello, Solo. Hope you're having a great day. Hope to see you on later. Whoa. Juan Van jumped out. Let me know when you want to come back in, Juan Van.
Yeah, because I think having kind of led teams and stuff, having it's kind of what I focus on with the visibility stuff, with trying to get more transparency in the process, because we don't know what people are working on. Like for instance, I gave a deadline of today for something on Tuesday. So I was asked, hey, how long do you think it'll take? I said, I need a couple of days. I'll get it finished by Friday. I then had another job dropped on me, and now that entire timeline is completely blown. That's not necessarily my fault. Am I hearing myself talk?
Yeah, it's Juan Van. That's okay.
It's not necessarily my fault, but it gets thrown off, and now other people are expecting things from me. I'm not necessarily letting them down, but again, it's more transparency in the system. No one knows I'm doing that. No one knows what's distracted me or taking my time. So yeah, I've said I'll do that stuff, but it's not getting done today. You know.
I mean, yeah, it's just really, really, it's a sticking point for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I
But
don't
do you
want to
always
be
have the
like,
visibility?
yes, and that's, well, not always, sorry. The whole thing about that is when someone actually says to me, this is the thing that I'll be working on, and then they're not. So I don't know what else they're doing most of the time, but when they say they are going to take care of this thing, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'll leave it with you.
Makes sense.
I'll tell you what happened to them. They're setting off a fire.
Yeah, exactly.
As it happens in my job all the time.
And I just don't want to think that about people, not on purpose at least. But it's nature for me. It's like, I want to trust you, but my initial instinct is just based off of our interactions. You're going to tell me you're going to do a thing and then sit on it for a lot longer because you're doing something else, supposedly, or as allegedly.
So how do I share my screen?
You would click on the little share your screen icon, which is to the right of the video icon down at the bottom in the Discord. And then it'll bring up a pop-up where you can choose to share a window or change the tabs to share a display, entire display.
Okay.
I will pop this out so that we can see that. Was there anything else further on that conversation, TBD? I don't want to cut you off.
No, I'm not trying to divert the entire stream. Just,
I
wanted to know. I wanted to dig deeper into that whole like the.
I will say,
and the issue that I have essentially with working on teams.
Yeah.
What we did. Yeah, I'm just gonna say, working in teams, right? The best thing you can have is like a good, for example, Jenkins or any kind of CI/CD, like continuous integration system, where like you're required to do certain stuff before you release stuff. That way, you never have that issue. Like you never run into, buggy code or like was that you were talking about? Did I understand that right?
No, we were actually just talking about people doing what they say they're going to do, especially if you're relying on them to finish their part before you can do your part.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. Okay, no, it's still different. My bad.
It's like we have a in the place that I used to work, we had a process where main branch is locked down, and you had to push everything to main using a PR, and at least one other developer needs to review the PR before it gets pushed, and it has to pass the CI build and all of that.
Makes
stuff.
sense. Yeah.
But there was still lots and lots of stuff because the amount of stuff done, that's like another conversation there. The amount of stuff that was in each PR, there were some that were, this is the specific work item that we were doing, and there's some that's like, here's a brand new feature that has all of these things that we had to touch from other existing code too. So you have to PR everything or review.
Right, make sure that basically the old stuff works and the new stuff works. Understand? Yep. I mean, yeah.
So the thing is, I'm not in the stream on my computer. I'm on it on my phone.
Oh.
So what room are we in exactly?
We are in stream room. Oh, which you can't see. So if you, how would we do that?
I think he just wants to rejoin his computer. Maybe. Yeah. Would be the best thing.
Yeah, and then
he just did.
Okay, he just did it. There we go.
It just might be a little weird because of how I'm talking now.
Oh, no, you're fine. Nice.
Oh, that thing's not connecting there.
Yes.
All right.
I don't think he can hear us.
I can hear you.
Oh, good. Okay. So then, yeah, you should have now the share your screen thing at the bottom.
Yep. Oh, I see here.
Have we discussed AI robots yet?
Oh, there
read
it is.
off Solo's message real quick. My favorite part of deadlines is the whooshing sound they make as they fly past. Yes, Douglas Adams. And then, yeah, that's problematic if someone signs up for work and that doesn't communicate when changes. The thing about most of the situations that I ran into were that the items that someone else needed to work on in order for me to get where I was going were because I was front end specifically for that job, even though I knew how to poke around, or not even poke around. I prefer working in core logic, functionality, programming, back end stuff. But they were responsible for the back end. And so I'm like, I trust you to be responsible for the back end. I'm running into this issue. Can you tell me how this works? And then they tell me how it works, and then they see something that's like, it shouldn't do that. And I'm like, okay, is that something you're gonna fix, or would you like me to touch it? No, I'll fix it. Okay, I need that to work before I can get this UI thing to work. Okay, I'll get that done. 10 days later,
Well,
here's the release deadline coming up, and still waiting.
yeah, I can totally relate to that. Like, I kind of feel like some developers, not some developers, some teams, they just don't have the right amount of pressure sometimes. That it's like things are too open that
Pressure is another conversation, especially
We all have
coming from
pressures.
stakeholders.
no, that's fair. That's fair. No, maybe I'm looking for a different term here, but or a different thing, but
Motivation, probably.
that's motivation. Yeah.
Need a bigger stick.
Okay.
So this
So
is
Wombat.
this is the program that I work on. I know you don't know what I do, but I do microfiche, kind of.
think you
And this is
told us
all
about that.
dynamic in the background here. It does this, and then you can view this, and I think this one works. Or it has an error. What's the error it has? Oh no, there it goes. So it loads all that, right? My question is, where is this it? Bar chart. Yeah, this one here. This is how that data is stored.
Okay.
So what happens is this data here gets created and it's a loop. Basically, I get new data from Honda, come in, have to parse through it, and then it gets pushed into a production type of thing. My question is there a better way to do that? Where did that go now? Production bytes. So there was this one. I'll put it over here now. Oh, it has both of them over there. So this one I did was originally bytes. And then this one I do now is JSON.
Oh.
And it saves a big table instead of the little bytes, you know what I mean? It's kind of big. And there's probably, I mean, if you know power sports, you know there's a ton of these.
I'm definitely not a fan of storing JSON as a column. I know that there is a JSON data type.
But the problem is that, like, so this is, you see how this has two? I don't know if this one works exactly. I know the other one does. Let's see if this one, okay, so this one has 4 models in it. 1, 2, 3, 4. If we go over to the other one there, this one has considerably more. You can tell by how long it takes. So if I go up and over,
You're presenting, so of course that's going to happen.
And this one has, you can see, considerably more amount of
like
right-hand model. Yeah, probably, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, like 8 or 9 maybe, yeah. Over there. There's a way to view that data, but just not in this program. This is all based off of an older program that we did that used FlexGrid from VB6.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So I've been trying to modernize it into the .NET era.
Yeah.
By doing, all sorts of neat
and this is
stuff
WinForms, right? Not WPF?
No, this is WPF.
Oh, it is WPF. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, this is all WPF.
Just to restate then the scenario, and then we can get feedback.
I'm just curious if this
panel.
is how you guys would store data, or what kind of loop you would use. Because creating a table that's going to have all these, you know what I mean? I'm going to have different schemas for each one of them.
Mm-hmm.
None of them are going to be the same.
Right.
And this goes out for this is just Honda and Beta. I don't know if you know Beta motorcycle is, but it put this out to Bombardier, Suzuki, Yamaha, all the manufacturers, plus a couple other little name guys.
Cool. So
And
the
then, or is this? Yeah, go ahead.
the point is that you're getting data from an external source that you're storing in your database in order to present in the UI. The data that you get is structured differently depending on who you're getting it from, but it's also kind of structured the same because it looked like you have manufacturer model and then some information for that model. It's just a different number of models, and the models are the columns instead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's and that's when I import it and I do my ETF. That's when it, it becomes my that format there. So everything has to go through some sort of import process. If it comes from PDF, or it comes from a text file, or it comes from a zip file, or whatever format it comes in.
Okay, so I'm going to respond to that from a straightforward database way, and then someone else can respond to that in whatever way they see is more appropriate or just different. So because you're essentially making columns out of each model, it sounds to me like the model would be there would be another table that has a foreign key relationship to your main table. That is your models table that has model name and then all of the common fields for each model. And yes, that means that you will be doing a join when you're getting the data, but chances are that when you're querying the data, you aren't pulling massive amounts of information, though it's actually a pretty small join.
Yeah, it is. It is. So this is the where is it at here? So I can bring over more of it at once. So this is an example of the production data, save data table. So it goes in the main table. The main table has the storage table data. The storage table then has an ID. So it goes to the main unit table and it gets out the unit ID and the main table ID. And the main table ID correlates to that every manufacturer has its own main table.
Okay.
Because that was the easiest way. Because each manufacturer, while they're going to have their own main table, they're going to have different points on that table. You know what I mean? Each one's going to have its own different set of options. We'll call it widgets.
Yep.
Where is it at?
So each manufacturer has their own schema as well as. So, like, does each model though follow the same data? Because it looked like there was really only one field for that model.
When we went over in here?
Yeah.
So when we selected this, select this guy. And the reason why it's so small is because it does a background load on a column, because it has to figure out these columns to make this data grid. Right. And the reason why I have to share the code is because it uses telrec binaries. So it's just got data in all these columns here.
Yeah, so each of those columns represents one model, correct?
Yep.
And then each of the models has whatever that first row is. The friendly name or something, and then the second row, which is the model number.
Yep.
And then the third row, which is product number, it kind of looks like. No, that's over there.
Yeah, production kind of number, yeah.
So that would be in its own table. And then that table would have another related table that has just a combination of product number, description, whatever that third column is. So each of those items has unless there's only one for each, but it kind of looks like there's more than one.
No, there's only one for each, yeah.
Yeah, so product number, description, whatever the third column is, and then count or whatever the number is in those fields.
Yeah, let me see, can I get over there? I can.
So instead of having a columnar models table, you have a related table that has models as the row. Combination of ID from this table or main table to model table.
Hey. Sorry.
I just arrived at 65 John Street.
All right, is he there?
So if you could call him, don't bring it up.
All right, it should be there on the thing. It should be there on the corner. They said. Yep.
The corner of
The house. It should be on like the brim of the house. Let me call them. I'll call you back. All right, bye.
Okay, and at the same time, if any of you that are on the call have opinions, please feel free to share. And then anyone that is in chat, call back. No, bring them on the call here. I want to show you the document database. Oh, he's still on the phone.
There it is. Oh, where is this thing at? So
Canada, obviously.
it probably is
I mean, that's where
the Great North.
I have opinions, but don't understand the data well enough. Yeah, it really does sound like it's one data source that comes in, gets processed, and then turned into these tables where each manufacturer gets their own table, and then each model is a different column in that table.
In that table, that's how it works.
Yeah,
that's how that works. But my more thing is just like saving that data into that in that version of it, I guess. You know what I mean? Like this one has the old version, I think it does. If it has anything in it.
True.
Where it's the bytes and the table schema and this doesn't look to be like a lot of data this way. But then when I did it for the Honda new way, because they blacklisted, obsoleted the byte call storage unit data.
So you can't actually get the bytes anymore.
No, you can't use byte array anymore. It just needs to be something else. So is JSON really the best way to save that data? Is there a better way to save that?
Yeah, I would say no for me personally in a database storing JSON string in a column, because querying that is not great. It's not a great experience.
You're not querying this for anything. This is
okay.
what you're using this for is storage. When this gets put in here, there's nothing that's done with it until it's ready to be turned into a data table in memory and then used to make something else, or to be, in this sense right here, to be looked at as a whole unit. There's never a time where I'm like, hey, how many times, you know what I mean? There's nothing here to query for me. This is just, it could be an Excel sheet. It's just that, it makes more sense to use a database. You know what I'm saying?
There is nothing that's like, give me back a Honda CRF 1100A.
No, not in this version of there's nothing in here that is queried that I'm like, okay, I'm querying the data table here for this section here, but there's no querying of the database outside of that. I'm going in here looking for imperfections in here, namely in the fenders is what I will look for in here. And we add these color codes to the top. So I have to, there's a new one that wasn't found for some reason, I need to be able to go in here, enter in the 010 black was found, and then go over and give myself my dashes wherever they go in here. And then save the table, and then go back over to here. And then this is just a demo, and see that it saved that data there. And so that's all that's done in this version of the table. So querying it, when it gets put into production data. So when it gets put into production data, it gets exported out into that type of file system that you kind of expect, where there's a main table, and a main table has a Honda 2023 Africa Twin, and in that it knows the table to go look for in that main table, and then it goes into that main table. But again, all it's doing is, going in and setting up another version of that view, so to speak. So we'll go in here and we'll go to Honda Street Bike 2023, and here's the African Twin model in here. And then what they can do is they can go in here and search for a model used on all the Honda dirt bikes, and then they're actually querying just one more table. But nobody's ever going in here and searching. Like, it's just glorified lookup data in a database.
Okay. And no chance of having that bottom section be filterable and
No,
all that
no,
good
there's no,
stuff. Okay.
no, there's no reason to sort on any of this stuff.
I
There's,
don't know. Like my
you know-
database brain is saying I don't like this approach because you're
No,
storing
it's-
multiple
Yep.
elements of data in one column as opposed to using related tables, but that's just my relational database brain
Yep,
talking.
but that's also the way that the data comes to me in this version of it. Now, there is one that's more palpable to that, we'll say, and it does it in an automotive fashion. So then it uses family and parent IDs to link it, and then the model numbers go to what they call an IPL, individual parts list, and then the individual part list number will be used multiple times in those whatever 500 units to do, or whatever uses that crankcase area. So then that IPL, it has the same parts list, and you got to go to the parts list to get the part number names and everything. And that is more of the version that you would be going into, but that's a good way to sort the books. But then I have to make another, which I'm working on now, another layer to like import that into our version right here.
So I don't know. It's kind of like a depth versus breadth approach where I would want to spread all of the data out over multiple tables, and you're just keep layering on more views essentially on top of it.
Yeah, because this table right here, the one that we're looking at here, this will be created and destroyed 7 times in its life. So I'll have to go through and update this book 7 times in its life before it reaches its final, state. They're not going to update any part numbers in it. There's no more colors to add. There's no more gaskets to fix that we figured out weren't the right size. You know what I'm saying? So there's no reason for me to, because then what I have to do is keep creating and destroying schemas. And that's a very expensive process in a database server.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the way that I see it is really there's only one table that is the primary. Well, again, in a relational way, what I'm seeing is a table that tells you who are the manufacturers that you would get information from, and as you get new manufacturers, they get added to that. They all have their own unique ID, and then all of the related tables to that are what models do you get from each of them. Those models get their own ID, and then another table is what are the features, is what I would probably call them, of each of those models.
Yeah. And then what this does in the end,
what are the possible features, and then you have them.
Oh, this one. Oh, get over here. So in the end, what this does is then it exports this database. So it'll take these. It's just the way it looks. It will look on the internet, whatever. And then this button will export it to my live server. So that way, all the data that I went through and processed web data up here on these ones will then be gone, ready for production, basically. It's supposed to be automated, but I didn't get that far yet. This has been a working project since COVID.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things to do, man. I don't know. Do you want to look at the WPF?
Yeah, like the whole relationship, or not relationship, the way that I can relate to this is that one of the databases that I work with, can I pull this over? I think I can pull this over. Okay, so this database, for example, has, oh yeah, you need to be able to see in Discord, has a documents table. And think of the documents as each document is a vehicle model. Can I say it that way? Mm-hmm. And then this APF table, AR, DTS, Inquire, PMC, all of these are manufacturers. So they're kind of like your manufacturer's table, where every document has the same basic information. And then they have extra information if they are PMC documents. And then that would be, here is a model of PMC that has these fields. Some features of it would be who signed the documents, if anyone signed it. So that's some other table down there. Yeah, just a whole bunch of other related fields to that manufacturer specifically for that model.
For that model. But you have hundreds of models that fit into that schema, so to speak.
So like this one would be thousands and thousands. Like again, this document database is well over 200,000 documents.
This system was designed back in the 90s. So I mean, there wasn't a lot of relationship databasing going on back there. It was all access. Which is why it looks the way it does.
Right.
Yeah.
And I do think that was the original of this database, because this has records going back to 1940s.
Yeah, so it probably had some old
logged.
Yeah.
That critical table, Nancy. This one.
Yeah. It's an interesting way to store data, I'll tell you that. I hate it. I hate the idea. And when I brought it to my professor once and I showed her, she didn't like it. She's like, you got to do all this stuff to it. But the problem comes in that I trust the computer a lot then on top of that. And there's no easy way for me to just Excel spreadsheet it and look at it and know that that's the data, you know? Like,
right, without views. I mean, that's what views are for.
Yeah.
So
But apparently my father runs
the big queries and views. But yeah, does anyone on the call have opinions about? And I was talking over undecided. Please go ahead.
No, that's okay. Undeclared, actually. But yeah.
Undecided as well. Undecided is the YouTube channel about new tech. Anyway, go ahead.
Fair enough.
I'm changing your nickname for myself in chat.
No, I could change it. I got
it. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, there we go. Perfect. That's good. So, no, I mean, there's many ways to go about working on this issue. Like, oh, I almost mentioned that. There we go. No, we were just talking about solutions to the issue. Having multiple tables, right? For multiple manufacturers. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
On the way you're talking about. Okay. No, and then sorry, no, actually I lost my train of thought, so we'll go back to that in a couple of minutes when I remember. Sorry about that.
No worries.
This is how the table structure looks. So I get my downloads, and then I downloads what the data is that I had to store from them, and then this is the actual main that we see online there, whatever it was there, and then a linking table. Some price list nonsense, and then where the production stuff is stored. There should be more, though. No, that's it. Unit storage. That's where that is. Okay, so it does have the unit storage.
And I mean, I do like that you're using schemas. I think you're using schemas. Nope, those are underscores. Are you using schemas to at least distinguish the?
You mean on the in here? Oh no, they're all on. It's all DBO. Yeah, they're all DBO right now. I tried to do a schema at one point down here. See, because I was like, this is my thoughts in here. Oh, I didn't do anything in that one. Nope, that one didn't load. Oh, there it is. So I made this beta version of it and the DBO version of it, but then I had a strange problem where I couldn't use the schemas that house the DBO in the stored procedures in schema DBO in schema beta. So I could only use stored procedures on the schema they were. And because the data crosses, since the data crosses, and like these Honda tables are the same as these beta tables, they're just named differently. They store the same information just for that manufacturer. The DBO I couldn't go back and forth. with the SQ. So I have to have double the SQL statements, so procedure statements, and that was just not viable.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Nope. Nope. I tried a lot of things to get it to work, and none of them worked for me.
I thought that there was a way to add permissions for a specific schema.
And there might have been one way. I was also looking because in my first iteration of this, because I was saving PDFs and images, I wanted to try to use the file stream system in the SQL server, and that turned into a nightmare because of Active Directory when it went into production. But in my testing lab, it was fine because I was at home on my own AD, so I could do everything and it worked okay. But when I came in here and I don't really have an AD on that server section, it's just the server, you know. So without Active Directory, you can't use file stream. So I was like, well,
Yeah, that one I'm not sure of because I don't have experience with it.
Yep, file stream. It's a nice idea. But then I just went back to, old school file paths directory image name.
I'll actually remember what I was going to say earlier. I was just going to say you're even lucky that you're working on an SQL database, or sorry, SQL database, because I don't know. I mean, whatever. For some people. So, no, I mean, I have a friend. He works at a company. He worked with a company. They had virtual machine AS400s, like really ancient machines, and this was running their entire company. And it was a multi-million-dollar company. And in order to the cost to move it from an AS400 in a virtual machine to a real computer, like let's say something modern, like let's say TypeScript or C# or anything like that, you're talking like $15 million estimated cost just to move it down.
Yeah. My wife works for a book publisher, and they just redid some of their systems, and it's very similar to this, where it takes in their sales reports and does a bunch of stuff, and then puts it into their records keeping stuff, and it does an audit trail on it. And I think that the starting price for it was like 2.4.
Yeah, I imagine because it's crazy. Like the amount of stuff they have to do, and they have to do it on the AS400 really at the beginning. So they have to back that up using code for an AS400, I imagine.
Yeah, but finding programmers for an AS400 is also hard.
I actually have a friend. He knows COBOL, and he was like, my son's not gonna be interested in this. I'm like, dude, teach your kids COBOL. That's
definitely
gonna find a job that no one's ever gonna be able to do in 20 years from now.
Mm-hmm. Or they'll finally make a script that'll make it easier to update, which is what all the old school COBOL people should be doing, is making scripts to update. But instead I don't want to lose my job and my 6-figure paycheck, which is cool. I get it. Don't want to become obsolete. Nobody likes to be the cotton gin.
I'm kind of looking forward to
it. Well,
no one will need me soon.
Awesome to, what do you call it on? Yeah. But it's been a pretty fun project. I've learned a lot. I have an installer for it that I send out to people to do stuff with it. So, and then on the flip side, where is it? I just sent out this email. Sent. Where's it at? This file. And then what this comes down to in the end is they send a request to me, and there's an API up here besides here, controller. No, there he is. Why do you use just a simple controller? It's search controller, and all they do is they go in and checks their key, checks their part number stuff, make sure their links and stuff are whatever, and then goes in and sends the requests when that data is processed. And it's ran through, I can then query it for this data. Where this part number was used, how many units was used on, and the specific units in case it is used across multiple sections in a unit. And now that people pay for.
Cool. So real quick on the schema thing, essentially all that you would have to do is treat a schema kind of like a user if you wanted to run stored procedures, where you open up the schema properties in the database, go to permissions, assign it to one of the roles. So for example, I have a DTS role for my DTS schema, and then have that DTS role have access to run the stored procedure in DBO. So DBO.
Is there,
CSP.
I mean, besides the fact that I would be splitting up this atrocity right here, and so I'd have more instead of, I guess, would they still be on, if I had them all on the same server, would they, because this is what they look like now.
Yeah, where they're their own databases.
They're their own databases. Each one of them is their own database.
Oh, you know what would look like that is our ArcGIS server.
Tables. I can't see that. But then this is what is the production information. So this is what people query when they go on and they look at select your section, and then, okay, what section information do you want?
So I think that is the way that ArcGIS does theirs. They have a schema per... no, these are all SDE admin. Because ArcGIS creates tables for all of the map and geospatial objects.
Yep, I've used them for the flood maps before.
Yeah, so the tables are named terribly, but they put it all in one database. And if we were structured better, we would be using different schemas for each concern, is what I'm trying to say.
Yes. It comes down to, do you have 5,000 trips or 5,000 chips? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
thanks for the
I
input.
Yeah, I still stand by my statement of I just really don't like the concept of having a JSON field, because it actually contains data that you're displaying to the user that they're going to interact with, even if you're the user.
Yeah, when that data gets when it comes over to JSON, from the JSON there, where's the AE library? It's under here, yeah. No, this is this. Manufacturer. Oh, that's not nothing there. That's access, so they can write to access. That's the archive process for them. Nope, that's all junk. It's gotta be in here.
Yeah, and that is the other thing. When you add a manufacturer, you
I have to run
also adding all the stuff in your code, your models for them.
Yep, all that. Well, not really. So when I need to add a manufacturer, like if I wanted to say add Bombardier at this junction and they were a new one, all I would have to do to add Bombardier is add them into the SQL data in here. So I'd have to make a new folder, copy all these things over, name them Bombardier, whatever. And then I'd have to go into the manufacturer table in here, and add a row for that unit information, and then add a row in the unit type, so that way it would know where to go. And then once it knew where to go with that data, it would then over here, it would then give me these options here, and then I can click on motor site. Well, I can go to here, and I could actually, or is it's in this one, I can go into here and I can select the database and then import it in if I really wanted to.
Yeah.
and then I can start working on the data. You know what I mean? Or I can go
As
into
opposed to having one table that pretty much tells you the structure of that manufacturer's data. So what I mean by that is like you have the manufacturer table and then you have the unit table, but
Mhm.
you also have, and I keep calling them features because I don't know what else to call them, but like I saw cabin filters or something, some kind of air filter as one of the things. I would call that a feature. And so pretty much you're just mapping this manufacturer, this model has these features. And then when you're putting in the value for those specific features in another table, then you're just referencing that feature
Yeah.
table's ID, this count.
and that's how the automotive industry does it, but they don't give me any keys to
No, you're
to
creating
link
your
off.
own keys. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm creating my own keys. And the problem is that one day this key is going to change for some reason, and they're going to give me an update for it, and I'm going to have to just redo all these keys again anyway, because it's just faster that way. It's like and that makes kind of sense. The way we're going to do maybe when another Friday in a few months when I do the Bombardier data, we can go over because that's they're doing it in the automotive format
Right.
where I gotta load it in those things. The only problem you run into is that their parts database itself is 1.5 gigs, and their IPL database is 900 meg. So now we're kind of competing in sizes. You know what I mean? It's the
Ours are
database.
only like 700 gigs. It's fine.
Yeah, where instead of just having just one thing here, you know, I mean, this takes out 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 data points in one table because they have it split up this way, but it adds a lot more this way. This is just the way that Honda gives it to you, so to speak. They use some sort of output format that's very weird.
I think our largest database is 2.1 gigs. Not too big.
2.1 gigs, yeah. And that database, they send me a new one every hour.
Jeez.
It should deal with a terabyte database for analytics.
Oh, gosh. Yuck.
That's terrible.
Yeah, I can't imagine what the
You want to guess which type of SQL we're using?
MySQL?
Yep.
Oh.
MariaDB actually, but yeah,
MariaDB.
basically MySQL.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing is though, it scales well, surprisingly, but no, it costs too much, so we ended up switching to Google BigQuery, yeah, which is like Google's data storage thing.
Oh yeah.
Kinda like S3 almost.
Ended up costing less than our data storage.
Yeah, everything here right now is hosted in-house, so I'm not worried. Storage is like the least of my concerns unless I have a full database.
And this was on SSDs though when it was more expensive, so it's like it was expensive.
What can I show?
Hopefully my next server will have SSDs.
So that document database that I was talking about is 16.2 gigs.
Wow. And I assume someday I'm going to have
even a backup, even incremental backup with 1 million changes is going to be like 2 seconds on that.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's amazing.
that's comforting to hear.
No, you think about it. No, I'm serious because when I do changes on that database, I'm used to like a lot of stuff breaking when you do a database change. Like we gotta start a transaction. We gotta make sure that our websites are like not putting traffic to the right database, or sorry, the slave database, and we switch the slave and the master, if you know what I mean. Like we had 2 databases in that case.
One just in case it went down.
Exactly, and it copied all the data automatically.
Replica.
That's it. And so we use the replica, in other words, to make the changes, then we switch the replica and the production.
That's cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
It's kind of like frame switching.
Yep.
Now I'm gonna
blame someone else.
Stop sharing my screen and do some work and talk on there. And close out this. I like all the ideas. I'll take a look into that. I wrote it down there.
Cool.
Just the DTS on a roll. But right now, I think that's because right now we have there's like 20 something manufacturers here, and we want to add 3 more this year.
And I assume all of these data grids are using view models, or at least DTOs.
Yeah,
so if you change your database structure, let's say you do somehow decide, which I don't think you will in the long run, but you do somehow decide to split them up into relational tables instead of that JSON column. Although I haven't looked into it because again, the term JSON column just makes me ick. But JSON as a data type for a SQL column is possible, I believe, and it's also easily searchable.
Mm-hmm.
I think I kind of remember from the Entity Framework team.
Yeah, but once I get into the data table format, I'm just doing simple stuff to it. I'm not comparing it to another table. There's nothing else that needs, there's no other data it's pulling. Nothing. I mean, there's some tables it pulls when I run the data to give it its, our header name and some other color information, like I showed you. That stuff's all pulled. That's all done when the data's ran. And it would be nice to not have to, always say that this fender is purple and green and the color code is RTX, whatever. There might be a model out there somewhere that uses that same exact part number and has it a purple and red one that's for a green bike. So now there's added context to that part, just specific to that unit. There's 101 edge cases in power sports, just like I'm sure there is in any other parts industry. And they do it all like that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty clear in my head. I just can't articulate it very well. But just seeing how you could take the data that you were showing me in that form and just keeping it as relational.
Yeah, the problem is it doesn't come in that format. I have to make it in that.
But you're already processing it anyway, so.
Yeah, but I'm already processing it, and I guess I could look into making it split up into tables. My biggest, I guess that would, it's really the create and destroy process that comes into effect here.
Which I don't fully understand, but I know that it's.
There is Yeah, sorry. No, continue, please. Okay, no. Yeah, no, there is one solution that it's kind of shitty, but you can consider it maybe, which is having a table with a lot of nullable fields. So you fill in what is possible based on the schema, and then you only display what's available.
Right.
And
it's not great though; it's a little ugly in code, but
that is the idea to the access version of it. So when the database is created, it creates 57 blank fields. And then it uses one of the fields in the top of the table has a number in it, and that number tells it what field number it has to go to show the quantities. And that was a cool idea until we hit a manufacturer model that had 154 of them.
Yep. A different number of model availabilities.
Well, now I can't make every one 157 because that's just too big of a database for 57 was even big, and now I have one that has 150 of them, and it's kind of ridiculous the size of the book. It's a Harley Davidson book, Softail.
So definitely go his way.
That's where I'm seeing turn the columns into rows and.
Yeah, turn the columns into, and that's what this version does. So there is only 3 columns or 4, whatever the number of columns are supposed to be there. There's no blank nulls, so I don't have to check for that anymore. So that's one nice savings of data.
Welcome to Exposure Therapy, TBD.
And the price files need to be ran on the production data every 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Yeah, and that still just sounds like a record update to me as opposed to destroy the table, recreate it. situation.
Yeah, and that's what my idea is here with this here. So what you would be able to do is when you go in and you have a price that's updated, all you need to do is go into the production data here, pull each one of these byte arrays out, update the part number in there, and then push it back in there, because it's just the way it's stored. Maybe there will be an easier way. Did I close that? I did. To store all those, like in the end, I could store all those in a single database, which brings up its own problems in the end there.
Yeah, especially joining
so-
databases.
well, it's not joining the databases that's the problem. It's that SQL
It's
doesn't
data.
like it when you select everything from a table.
Right.
So since I know that the TAs, when I'm going to go in them and I'm going to grab this data here,
You're
grab
getting
this
everything
data
from
right
there.
here. This data here calls the whole table.
Right.
SQL does not like that.
I haven't had
Don't know
problems with
why.
it, but I see.
It's actually a performance hit on the SQL server doing it that way. Why? I don't know. But it comes up as an error or a warning on all my things that I do.
Oh, interesting.
It's like
I wonder if I'm actually getting warnings for that. Now that you say that.
You should not be reading to the end of the table because it expects there to be more data in there. But
Right.
yeah, I don't understand that. If
Interesting.
anybody's ever heard of that before.
Yeah, end of table to me sounds more like all rows from the table as opposed to columns.
Well, it is all the rows in the table.
I thought you
That's-
just said
that's
it
what-
struggled with selecting. Oh, that's what you mean by selecting all. Okay.
Yeah, so this is
As
all
opposed
the
to
rows,
selecting all columns, just selecting all data, period.
all the data in there, yep. And then this it doesn't mind because it's calling just this section, which is just one ID, and then we go get the image.
Or some filter. So we've said all of this stuff, but no one has stated the obvious, and I was waiting for someone else to bring it up because I didn't want to. You have semi-structured JSON for each manufacturer. This sounds more like creating a collection per manufacturer and a document table using NoSQL.
Using
Have you considered
NoSQL.
using NoSQL for this?
No, because that would just be a new learning curve. I guess I should look into it.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it
and
sounds like, I mean, you're getting the data for each model or for each manufacturer as JSON, dump that directly to the document table or to the collection for that manufacturer. And you can create collections on the fly, you can destroy them on the fly, whatever you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that.
That
I
is-
would just add indexes as needed. You know,
Yeah,
if you need to.
Yeah.
maintenance agony.
But you can do that later. You can do that later. Though. That's the best thing about Mongo or Kubernetes.
You can re-index it whenever.
We can add index just like a normal SQL server. So.
Like these here, when I can't do it that way.
Everyone is pretty much in the same boat in this stream. It's like we're all like,
Yeah,
well,
these-
none of us
these
have
should all
really
be one
had that
table.
much experience with document tables. So
Yeah, this should all be like one table here. Like these should be in one table, and everything that's a TA should be in one table.
yeah.
So that way they're all just in one single table.
So live coding? What do you hate about Mongo?
I've never used it.
I used it once. I can't think in NoSQL terms. I'm a very relational database kind of guy. But this application kind of seems like you don't really need the relationships at all anyway. You aren't using them very much. So
Nope.
a document database.
If you pull in
makes
if you
more
pull in the
sense
data
for-
object, then a NoSQL DB is perfect for what you're doing there because that JSON data again you can still hydrate it as an object and you're getting one specific thing. I mean, I've used Raven, Mongo, Couchbase. Couchbase was pretty nice, but it has a SQL syntax to it as well. So Couchbase introduces the concept that the other NoSQL databases kind of say is forbidden, is joining collections. So that's kind of a controversial difference.
I would use it then.
Yeah. But if you've got data like this where you're storing it out as that column, then
Yeah.
it definitely makes sense.
Yeah. And like even that color thing that you were talking about could get added to records directly as a new field,
Uh-huh.
ad hoc.
And that's what it does now, basically. My goal is to get this also. It does it automatically to some extent. So I'm not just one person behind the wheel here. I got AI to help me.
Awesome news, Deflux. It's super cool.
Hey. Hey. Oh, very cool indeed. You.
Yeah, like I'm sure if we had some NoSQL gurus here, they would say this is absolutely a case for using NoSQL databases or document databases or whatever you want to call it.
Well, I should look into it more.
For my app stuff, the ticketing component of it, I'm going to move that to NoSQL because tickets are just documents. They're just continually living documents, so it does make sense in that respect. In that I don't necessarily, if I need search indexes, that's a separate thing, right? I can build out a search index separate, and I'm kind of embracing that distributed data side where you can have one database for one thing and another database for another, as long as you don't need them at the same time or to query them.
Because once it gets put on the internet, I think in some way it has to be. I guess I could use SQL. No SQL to display it some way. But how fast would it be for the user to display it that way?
If you have an index, I mean, if you have an ID, a NoSQL database is indexed nice and fast. So it's just as and a lookup by ID is going to be the same speed. It's just going to give you that object, and it's going to give it in a flexible format.
Yeah.
That's where the benefit lies. So if you've got a document structure that flexes, because you don't want that hundreds of columns of null, because it could be this wide, it might be this wide, right? That's where document DBs really come in, because then you've got the object has 10 fields in this instance, but 20 fields in this instance. You can just have a document that is metadata or whatever. So that way, and still manipulate it as with the types.
And I really like that you chimed in when we started talking about the NoSQL part, because I have so little knowledge on it.
That makes you a...
There's a lot of advantages actually, like besides that also, like Redis, I think it's called Redis or Redis, I'm not sure, but
Redis is how I pronounce it, at least.
It is Redis. Yeah, anyway, they actually that's actually not around anymore. Like they canceled the project, unfortunately, but I was using it for like caching, like for example, very simple, like for example, I get a result from a database, I save it in Redis, and then the next time, if it didn't change, if there's no reason to change it, like for half an hour or something, it would just give the same data, but then it would be checking from memory, it'd be much faster within the database, and also taking the load off the database. So I thought it was like a pretty good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to move this into, some of it into cache, because a lot of it can be put into cache. But right now, again, it's built on 1990s technology, so that's why I'm building this to update it.
Yeah, I have a very different approach for that. I don't want to say very different, but it's a straightforward approach for a lot of my apps because they are used by a small handful of people. There is a lot of data, but there isn't very much data that changes. Yeah, most of the tables are lookup tables is what I'm trying to say. So I take all the lookup tables, put them in local storage or IndexedDB in the web app, and then always use that. And then only if there is going to be a maintenance done on the lookup table will it say, all right, the lookup date or last updated date is newer than the one that we have in local storage or IndexedDB, so update.
I see what you're saying. That would be probably work too.
Yeah, but I mean that's a web app, so I don't know. I don't know how that would work specifically for a desktop app. Maybe a file storage of some sort.
But yeah, this is a web app too.
Oh,
it does a lot of things. Where is that one?
Well, I mean, do you interact directly with SQL? Yeah, you probably do in your app. So yeah, so you
Yeah.
have to do the caching at the same time through the app, Client app, I guess. If you were to do
Yeah,
it.
once I was looking at Redis, and there's a Tim Corey did a big workup on it, and he showed how you can kind of tell Redis where to cache on how many clicks. So if something has a nominal amount of clicks, it gets cached more for whatever
That makes
reason.
sense, actually. That makes sense. No, or at least you would cache it only if maybe, like you don't want to cache everything, depending on your memory usage, how much big usage. That's cool.
Yeah, trying to make it lighter for everybody. Yeah. But who knows? The scrapers still hit the site. So when Google and Yahoo and all those guys come through and want to index all the sites, then I get false clicks.
Thankfully, I don't have to worry about that part of it.
Yeah. There's a lot to worry about. I just want to worry about doing the data.
Do I have... Oh, that's interesting. I think I have a video source. I didn't even notice it. Nobody told me about it. I have a video source in OBS for Discord, whatever this is called.
The pop out.
Yeah.
Oh, so you can actually put that out as part of the UI. Okay, interesting.
What did you say there?
Oh, okay, no, I don't.
I
I think it's a little too big, though.
I think he's talking to someone local. How dare?
No, because it's a lot.
I get what you're doing. Okay, that makes sense.
You put it over the top layer.
It's still blocking your face, though.
Anyway, so it's like change the process. I don't want to teach them how to do it.
But yeah, so that's really, thank you for showing that to us.
Yeah, no problem.
Really cool. And feel free to continue the conversation in the other place.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump out of here because my wife's on a call.
Okay.
Ciao, ladies and gentlemen.
Ciao. Yeah, I really don't know which source this is. Excuse me, which source are you? Discord pop out. You need to go down here with the desktop. There we go. I would have been on top of the archery game too. How dare. But anyway, we have about 3 to 5 minutes left. So for the two of you left on the call, do you have anything interesting that you want to bring up?
I mean, I could, if you're interested, I could share something I'm working on, but at the same time, it's like right now it's a commercial, so I wouldn't like. Don't put you on the spot there, though.
Would it take more than 3 to 5 minutes?
No.
Okay,
no.
yeah, then certainly.
Okay, cool. I'll show my screen. Let's close the chat.
Yeah, if in doubt,
so
share nothing, says Peter. Oh.
This is like. Oh, let me just lower that. It's just like a little too the adult for that. There's some Discord. That's the call. And you can kind of like just relaxing. So I need to go back into the call with Discord because I can't actually sit on Discord, but Twitch.
Do you want me to not share yet until you're ready? I was waving at myself.
Yep. I just want to pop out the chat.
Oh, you're ready?
So I can see it.
Are you ready now?
Yeah, I'm ready. Sorry, hold on. Oh, okay. This is okay. Sorry, I just opened up a bunch of windows, but this is just like my app. You can yeah, it's called Metadoc.
It's like for split screening apps and
Meta
websites and stuff like
Is that what you're saying?
yeah, it's on Steam.
Share links and stuff.
Yeah. Exactly.
How do I? Full screen. That didn't do much.
Yeah, link here. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that you were just accidentally opening up a whole bunch of stuff, but you're actually showing us how Metadoc works. So what is it? What
Yeah.
does it do?
So it splits your screen. You have different apps or like games and stuff like that. Like, what do we cross about this? Sorry for those who we too pray for. Then they could put like, oh, what happened here? Oh, that's from the game. 1 second.
What screen my Steam is going to open in?
Yeah, that's God of War. It's just fun.
Am I going to use this on a 14-inch laptop? Ask Gilgamesh.
Good question.
This is my screen for my friends.
You got to use
this.
I think you got to use another app or something like that. And I just wanted to do that. No, thanks for
that's
letting me
cool.
show.
I would definitely do something like this.
Yeah, if you want a copy, I'm just happy to drop your Slim key.
We can talk about it, but I mean, it's definitely worth looking at. I want to look at it closer, but like right now I have I can see how this is extremely useful for someone with like an ultra wide. I have a 34-inch TV that's right here. That's 4K. And then the one that I work on when I'm over there is also a 4K. And so the way that I have my screen split up when I'm working is like I have Visual Studio on the left edge. The if I'm on one screen only, the application running in the bottom right, and then whatever else in the top right. Other people's streams is what I'm trying to say. But when I'm split out across this many monitors, then I have like windows that are kind of half laying on top of other windows. So I have SQL Server Management Studio open, and my email half on top of that, and then the stream stuff half on top of that, and it's crazy.
Might help you organize that potentially.
Yeah,
you know,
that's what I'm saying.
And you can run like as many as you want. Like you're not limited to one window. That's important actually. So you have like many different members. But thanks for letting me show it.
Absolutely,
really appreciate
it's
that.
a cool product.
Thank you.
Wish list now on Steam. Oh wait, it's already out. Buy now on Steam. Okay, well, we are at the end of the stream, and what I usually do is for anyone that's left in the voice channel, I ask you to do a really quick stand-up. So if you haven't ever done a stand-up before, it's just tell us what you worked on since the last time we talked to you, what you're working on today, and if you have any blockers.
Why not? Hey, Gilgamesh. Appreciate that. No, so yesterday I worked on a few bugs on the app. I got someone to work on my website and also some copywriting stuff like that. And then today, working on bugs, working on screenshots for the website, and no blockers right now.
Awesome. All right, TBD Gamer.
I haven't done a stand-up in a while.
You're gonna stop in a while?
I haven't done a stand-up in a while. Sorry.
Oh yeah. No, that was perfect. That was awesome.
Yeah, for me this week, worked on the game dev stuff and got some good progress made on that. And then on the app dev side, I got the Azure file uploading working, and I got the application, the side panel working the way that you kind of like, where you can click on the rows and navigate that. So productive week all around. I did get the Azure stuff working after stream today. I had created I created a big int column for ID whereas all my other columns were ints. So I'd built the entire application around integer IDs, and I'd chosen to use a big int for the attachments table, which completely broke. So I used it as an excuse to flex the ability to have a differing primary key column, and got that working.
Talk fast, use big words, know your term. Do you need anyone after the call?
No, I think I'm good. I'm blocked.
Completely blocked. So today I'll be working on water management. There's some issues with totalizing all of the wells, so I'm going to get that sorted out. It was just data entry issues. Great. And we actually store the total gallons value in a database table column, which can be calculated on the fly. Don't tell anyone. But that's it. That's what I'm working on today. I'm going to get that done, get the bug fixed, get the push out by the end of the day. And yeah, that's it. No blockers. Yeah, that's a stand-up, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you both for being here. You've been amazing.
For having me.
Conversations.
Thank you for the stream as always. Appreciate it.
Any last words?
Have a great weekend, all.
You as well.
Have a good weekend.
All right. I am dropping the call like ice. And thank you all for being here. You've been amazing, wonderful. Deflux came in close to the end. It was cool. He even contributed. Gogamesh says, my blocker is we don't have local setup for my project. I'm coding and directly deploying, no debugging, no testing in local. What? I'm not going to read Peter's comments because how dare you even write that? Even if you're just joking about it. Anyway, the key point or the key to this stand-up is to make it all up, and none of it should make sense ever. Just use big words. I mean, I ran Terraform today, and that fact will not make it to my fake stand-up. Yeah. All right. So I'm sure you guys know where we are heading, because I was kind of excited about this. We are going to raid out to Solo Solipsist, who was in chat earlier. He is a developer working in mixed reality, and I spelled his name correctly. Feel free to join us. You don't have to, but he is going to be doing some more with his AI self that he is making an avatar of in mixed reality, augmented reality, and virtual reality, and all that stuff. He also talks just about all that tech, which I'm very much into. So we're going to see him. After the stream, I will post the VOD to YouTube at some point in time, so you can always check it out there. But if you're interested in seeing the VOD right away, just check it out on Twitch immediately after. What else do I normally say? Feel free to join our Discord. We have amazing people there. You don't have to if you're already part of way too many Discords. And hello, Irish John. Check out his stream in about 30 minutes or so, if he's on time. Hint, he cut his hair. But yeah, that's it for me for now. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, your weekend. Until the next time I see you, I'll be lurking on many, many people's streams. Oh, he's going to have a new poll up, and I just reminded him. All right, ciao. Pro waving.